medical center that can basically just turn it off. It interrupts the confused neurotransmitters.
It'll certainly bring a lot of attention to this disease.
Which it could use.
Maybe get a little more money for research. We'll have a check on the holiday traffic with a live report from the Metro Traffic Center.
And kids, sound off on which popular holiday gifts make the grade in the toy test. And if you're thinking about tomorrow's feast, well, we're going to answer some of your questions about making turkey dinner. Get a pencil and paper. It's still ahead.
Live, local, late breaking, with Benita Zahn and John Gray. This is News Channel 13, live at 5. News Channel 13 is sponsored in part by Niagara Mohawk. Coming up, News Channel 13 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Bob Kovachick. Closed captioning on News Channel 13 is brought to you in part by Napa Auto Parts.
We have to keep things low-key, John, because I think all the holiday hoopla...
Let's get into Kovachick.
That's nice and easy, Bob. There we go. Then everybody gets through the holiday.
Well,
this is tough. Everybody's questioning you.
I know. It looks a little shaky tomorrow, especially up north. We're getting a little snow and sleet up in the North Country, in the Adirondacks tomorrow morning. Let's tell you what's going on. Kind of a chilly day today. Lots of clouds now in our skies. The moon pretty much disappearing as clouds increase. 40 now in Johnstown, 39 in Round Lake, 43 in Valatia, 40 in Berlin. Our high for the day at the Albany International Airport, 42. Morning low, 26. And again, clouds moving into the skies from west-east. Those clouds will bring some rain and a little wet snow to parts of the area early in the day tomorrow. Here's the precipitation we're tracking heading on east across the Midwest into parts of the Ohio Valley. And you can see even some heavier showers, perhaps even a little bit of thunderstorm activity from southern Michigan back into parts of Indiana. And that precipitation advancing to the east will be here in the order of about 4 to 7 a.m. tomorrow at the coldest point of the early part of the day. And that means a little snow and sleet is going to greet some of our viewers up north tomorrow morning from Saratoga County to Lake George into the Adirondacks and the Green Mountains. Again, here's this frontal boundary just past Chicago. We'll push on into the area. It's going to be gray, damp, and chilly here tomorrow with a cold rain. Not very nice weather the way it appears for the Macy's parade in New York City. It looks to be wet and cool and fairly breezy. Temperatures only in the 40s for the parade down there tomorrow morning. In any event, this precipitation will pull out of here tomorrow night. We'll have a shot of cooler air, a brief shot of chilly air on Friday, and then a warm-up coming here during the coming weekend. Here's the winter storm radar indicating precipitation. You can see the expanding area of rain from the Great Lakes down to the Ohio Valley. Temperatures are mild there, so it's all liquid precipitation. But as I said, as that precipitation moves into parts of our area during the early part of tomorrow, a little sleet and snow is certainly possible, and we are forecasting a bit of a snow pile up in some of the hills and mountains. All right, here's your travel weather for tomorrow during the day. Generally rain here as you head north, some snow in the Adirondack Park into the Green Mountains. High temperatures projected 38 at Burlington. Rain to the west, turning just cloudy in Buffalo, 54 tomorrow in Pittsburgh. South wind, breezy, 50, but some rain also in New York and some rain in Boston. So generally a wet Thanksgiving day tomorrow, except some snow up in the northernmost parts of the area. And the winter recreational outlook, the Green Mountains and the Adirondacks will get snow, a dusting to 2 inches by late tomorrow afternoon. It'll be a wet snow and 2 to 5 inches of snow by tomorrow night in the highest peaks. All right, let's go to the forecast. And rain arriving by daybreak, 4 to 7 a.m. is my guess. Starting as a mixture north of Albany, 32 to 37. Rainy, breezy, cool tomorrow, but mostly snow well north and in the mountains, 42, 47. Things get a little better on Friday, a sprinkle or a flurry. But the weekend, look at that, warms right back up again. Good travel weather for heading back home on Sunday in the 50s and dry for the weekend. That's it.
See, we didn't pick on the meteorologist, and we got sun.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving, guys.
You too, Bob. Eat plenty.
I will.
So one day we can get away with it. Let's get a check on the ride home now.
Michelle Adams has the latest from the Metro Traffic Center. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, and expect lots of delays with heavy holiday traffic on the Northway northbound, clearing a vehicle fire at exit 8. Backups there, and the exit 8 northbound off-ramp is closed. Also getting reports of an accident approaching exit 8. On the thruway, another accident northbound being cleared approaching exit 23. This report sponsored by the best takeout restaurant in town, your nearby Grand Union. For News Channel 13, I'm Michelle Adams in the Metro Traffic Center.
Thank you, Michelle. Up next, we're going to answer all your questions about stuffing, defrosting, and cooking the Thanksgiving turkey.
And an upstate ski resort ranks up there with the best in the nation. Details in a moment. But first, St. Maybe needed a little more help from above to beat ER. Here's tonight's Top 5.
Welcome back. The weak Canadian dollar has been good news for the tourists heading up to the Great White North, but it's costing local tree farmers a lot of green.
Ed Dague explains in our Around the Region report.
Thanks, guys. This makes a lot of sense, with the Canadian dollar worth about half of our Christmas trees being imported from our neighbors to the north are clearly much cheaper than those that are grown locally. So now New York growers are hoping that Pride of New York tags on trees will persuade state residents to buy New York trees. New York farmers account for more than $30 million in annual sales of trees and wreaths. It may be too little too late, but a top Democrat, at least in the Massachusetts House, is now offering an olive branch to the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft. The majority leader, William Nagel, says the House is ready to negotiate with Kraft if his plan to move his NFL team to Connecticut should fall through. The Bay State House had refused to part with any public funds to keep that team in Foxborough. Kind of interesting, Aspen Vale and Lake Placid. The New York resort may sound like it's sort of out of its element versus those highbrow Colorado ski meccas, but according to Condé Nast Traveler magazine, I hope I've said it right, I've never heard of it, but it's a monthly. It says Lake Placid, the third best place in the nation for ski resort ambiance. The ratings are part of the magazine's annual top 50 ski resorts poll. I didn't read the article, so I can't tell you what number 50 is. But I'll bet they put most of the East Coast down toward the bottom and West Coast.
Precisely. I think that Lake Placid was the only one in the top, right? The producers talked to us. Lake Placid, the only one up there. And it is very...
It's got a great village.
Well, we'll talk to Herb Stevens about getting the East Coast more publicity.
You're eating in your house tomorrow, right?
Yes, I am.
Cooking going on? The wife knows what she's doing, right?
Oh, she definitely knows what she's doing, and she's doing a lot of it.
And then you don't need this next story.
All right.
But millions of people will be firing up their ovens for Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow.
And millions of questions are now being asked about defrosting and cooking the birds. For some answers now, here's Linda Champa.
Thanksgiving is almost upon us, but there's no such thing as a holiday from harmful bacteria. So to make sure you and your guests don't get food poisoning, take this food safety quiz. First, at what temperature should you cook your turkey?
450, 475. I don't know, but don't you have to get up in the middle of the night to turn on the oven?
According to cookbook author Rick Rogers, 325 degrees is the correct temperature.
Anything above that, the bird has a tendency to dry out and overbrown. Anything below that, you have a little science experiment going on inside of the turkey, and you don't want that.
Okay, question number 2. How many minutes per pound should you allow for cooking the turkey?
I don't know, 30 minutes, half hour per pound, 25 minutes.
No clue.
10 minutes per pound.
The right answer, 15 minutes per pound. A little more if you stuff the bird, a little less if you don't.
Do not trust the pop-up thermometers. Very often you glue them shut while you baste. And that's why they never pop up.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, 200, 300? 150 or something like that, maybe. Oh, that's a good one. I never checked that.
It should read between 180 and 185 degrees, and the thermometer goes in the thickest part of the thigh, but not touching the bone. And if you stuff the bird, make sure the stuffing reaches between 160 and 165 degrees. A few other turkey tips. When defrosting a turkey, do it in the refrigerator, allowing 24 hours for every 5 pounds. If you run out of time, you can defrost the wrapped bird in cold water, changing the water every half hour and allowing a half hour per pound. Also, use 2 cutting boards, one for just raw meat and one for everything else. And when you're done, wash them both with hot soapy water. And as for those leftovers, don't let them sit out for longer than 2 hours. Linda Champa, CNN Atlanta.
And some more tips courtesy the folks at the Price Chopper Turkey Hotline. If you want to defrost your turkey in the microwave, you should cook the bird immediately after doing so because parts of the could get cooked in the microwave. And if you don't feel like the whole turkey, try turkey breast or Cornish game hens or even chicken.
And if you don't want to go for birds or turkey day, there's also ham, pork, tenderloin, or ribs. If you have any questions about cooking anything tomorrow, dial up the Price Chopper Consumer Hotline, 1-800-666-7667. Press option number 2. The hotline is open from 8 tomorrow morning till 1 in the afternoon.
I needed a baking hotline last night. I was missing something and I needed a little cheating, and we went to the bakery today.
You throw cinnamon in usually.
It didn't work for this one.
No.
Well, Thanksgiving is always a welcome time for retailers because it means the start of the Christmas rush. We're going to have an expert's take on how crowded the malls will be this season.
And you know the most crowded place in the shopping center will be the toy store, of course. I'll bring you the kids' picks and pans of the hot toys for the holidays. The toy test is coming up next.
Very small gains on the market today as the Dow finished up just 13.
Among the most active traders, high-tech stocks like Ascendant, Newbridge, and America Online, no surprise there, all doing well. In consumer news now, while it may be all turkey and stuffing tomorrow, it's going to be credit cards and cash on Friday.
Known to retailers as Black Friday because it helps put their businesses in the black, financially speaking, stores everywhere are preparing for the big holiday shopping spree that typically follows Thanksgiving. But as Ted Kovachick of the Retail Council of New York explains, there may be a lot of shoppers looking Friday, but that doesn't necessarily reflect on how much is spent.
The shift has really changed from the day after Thanksgiving is the day that we all get out. Many of us have the day off, but a lot of the buying gets done closer to the 23rd of December than the 23rd of November.
And you can catch my interview with Ted Kovachick in full on Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., this week's Forum 13. He has some interesting things to talk about, what's hot and what's not. You know, Black Friday, as we mentioned, being on the horizon, you're probably trying to figure out what you're going to buy for that picky child.
Well, tonight we have the answers directly from the kids themselves. It's another installment of the News Channel 13 Great Toy Test. Any toy test starts with the hardest part, putting the toys together. And once we had them in place, we brought in the kids, whose mission, and they gladly accepted, was to play with them. Today we'll look at two age groups, 1- and 2-year-olds, and kids who are 3 to 5. We should point out, while the kids played over the course of a week, we had daycare workers watching and grading the toys on these scorecards. And what did they come up with? Well, let's start with the littlest ones. What toys do you like the best, do you think, of all the toys you played with today?
I like this guy.
Little Mickey Mouse? What did you like, young man?
Matavie.
The little boy is not alone. In the 1- and 2-year-old category, these are the 5 most popular toys. The Teletubby dolls, the Tigger Bounce and Ride, Sesame Street Bring Along Barn, Baby Basketball, and Disney Crawlers. The next group was much older. All right, they were 3 to 5 years old. After lots of fun, what I want to ask you guys, the reason we're here is we want you to play with all these different toys and let me know, and let people know what ones you really like. So which ones do you guys like, do you think?
I like this. I like this.
You like the car, Ricky?
I really like this. I like this.
They seem to like pretty much everything, but here's what our judges came up with. The Light Sound Rescue Emergency Vehicle was tops, along with the Dirt Devil Upright Vacuum, the Fisher-Price Flashlight, and the Pit Row set. Also, the Cabbage Patch Kids Baby Bubbles were very popular. Now, most of these toys were not the most expensive. In fact, the most popular toy in the whole bunch on this day was
I like this guy too.
an inflatable Tigger, which was, by the way, one of the cheapest. I got to warn parents, some of the high-tech, more computerized things, even for the older kids, it was geared towards their age. You know, they were like, what can I bounce on? What can I get my hands on? And